Good morning, Swings Church. My name is Amy Cruz. I'm a tech leader here at the Springs Church, and I've been coming here for about 6-7 years now. I always had a really weird, complicated history with the church. Growing up in a Catholic household, we used to go to Catholic church every Sunday, and it was cold and it was impersonal, but it was like you did it because that's what our whole family did. And I just don't ever remember it being significant or helping very much. I'm thankful that I had a pretty decent childhood, but it wasn't always great. My family was quite a piece of work at the time. Growing up, I dealt a lot with like depression and anxiety. I had really low self-esteem, and I had a really rough go through junior high, almost up until the point where I should not be here today. In high school, when all of those issues, because they never go away, they just sort of get worse, or we find other ways to cope with them. Like for me, it was a lot of seeking attention from other people, from friends, from boys. I remember there was a point where like in trying to find something to sort of fill this void, I touched on even things going as far as like paganism, like things that just sort of seemed to make more sense. Literally anything that I could try to fill the void, I would, and I did. I had tried it, and it just never ever worked. When I was in high school, I remember I had one singular Christian friend. I was sort of really lucky that she was my best friend. Looking back on it, sometimes I feel really bad because I threw a lot in her face that I shouldn't have. I don't think I can say I was a really good friend. To this day, that's one thing that I'm so thankful for, is that she really was a great friend. She held a lot of grace for me when I did not deserve it. After I got out of high school, a lot of got better, but some of the things stayed the same. You know, you leave school, but you go into the workplace. Wanting to feel accomplished and seeking validation, it switches from like boys to your workplace and anything that will sort of help me feel validated. The first job that I had after high school was a really awful job, but that's where I met Damon. Damon was a part of the church. He used to play bass here with Hiram, and I just remember asking him if I could hang out with him, if I could come along, if I could tag along, just so I could avoid going to Catholic church with my mom. So I started tagging along, and I would come and just sit in the back, and then when it was done, I would help tear down, and then we would go home. And it just went on like that for a few weeks. Not long after that was when the Springs actually moved into the current building that we're at now. And I remember offering to help to move stuff. At this point, I'm tagging along to literally anything that will get me out of feeling like alone. I was there for it. I guess after a while of coming to church with Damon and not paying attention, eventually when you hear like people talking over and over and over again, the words sort of just start to go in one ear and out the other, just like a little bit slower each time. I feel like everybody has had that Sunday where you're sitting in church and you didn't want to be there, or you're going through something and you're sitting there and someone starts speaking and suddenly you're like, oh boy, they're talking directly at you. At that point, I'm in a really happy relationship. I have a job, things are great, and I still feel so miserable. And I'm just like, this cannot be it. I know that there are people who have had like worse and deeper rock bottoms, but it really felt like this was mine. Like I was surrounded by things that should make me happy, and I was completely devoid of joy. I was sitting there one day and I can't remember what the message was. I can't remember what I had preached on, what songs we did, because I feel like the whole time I was just sort of sitting there arguing with myself, like, I don't know, I've tried everything else and nothing else has worked. And it was this moment where I felt like, all right, God, like, I get it. Here's all of my cards. I'm putting it all out on the table for you because I literally have nothing else. And I need this to work so desperately because I have tried everything else and I just don't know what else to do. I think the day I got saved, I don't remember what day it was. I don't remember anything else about it except that it was during the altar call. So it was almost the end of service, and the whole time I had been sitting there like fighting with myself, just like crying the entire time. And it was in that moment, right when you know the altar call is about to end, they're saying like, if that's you, like raise your hand, nobody's looking. And there's like a long pause, and I just felt it like right before he moved on. I was like, okay, that's me. Because I can't do it anymore. I just remember feeling really relieved when you are talking yourself in and out of doing something and you finally just commit to doing it. No matter how it turns out, there's sort of an immediate sense of relief. Obviously, like everybody, like right off the bat, I'm like, this is it. Like I'm gonna pray so hard. I'm gonna read my Bible every day, and it's just sort of that rush of like newness, new Christianness that sort of comes with it before it's sort of settled into this real feeling of it is literally just me and God. I've laid it all out, and now I need to sort of actually give it up. And it's also a lot of working through things like my mental health and my happiness and where I'm seeking validation and joy from, and being able to shift that focus and being able to realize that I am not going to get that anywhere else, and putting that focus into my relationship with God. Because there are days where obviously it's still rough, and I don't not have bad days, but I'm able to get through them knowing that that's all they are, is bad days and bad seasons, and that even through those I'm still worthy of love, and I'm still able to depend on God, and He is still there for me. Looking back, I think I'm thankful for a lot. I'm thankful for a lot of the little things that God did along the way. Some of the people that He put in my life, friends that showed me a lot of grace where I think I didn't deserve it. I'm thankful for, a mom who did the most and who cared a lot. Obviously, like I'm thankful for Damon, and I'm thankful for like the family that I have. But I think I am the most thankful just that I'm here. Being someone who has come out of that deep of a pit of depression, people will tell that to you a lot, like, I'm glad you're here. And I've heard it more than a fair share of times in my life. And some days it just really hits harder than others, that I am so thankful that I'm still here, because when I tell you, I really should not be. I'm thankful that where my plans were like foolish, God's plans for me were good. I'm thankful for the days where I get to, pick up my daughter from school and like we can listen to music together. I'm thankful to be able to sit with the teens and, just talk about our weeks and just silly things that don't matter, but later they'll look back on and maybe think they were important. I'm thankful that I get to help lead worship in whatever capacity I can, because that is one of the things that I love the most about being here and about what I do, is being able to help in worship. Living the life that I have lived and being where I am now, I can't help but really just sort of be thankful and want to give that back in praise. And it's so amazing. I don't think I'll ever be able to explain just the pride and the awe and the joy that worship brings me, and that I think that is one of the things that I'm the most thankful for.